In the glittering chaos of a Manhattan ballroom under chandeliers that dripped like frozen tears, I stood at the altar in a gown of ivory silk that felt more like a shroud than a dream. The date was etched into my soul, June 15th, the day my life had unraveled in my past existence. Guests murmured in elegant anticipation, New York's elite with their diamond cufflinks and whispered fortunes, oblivious to the storm brewing beneath the surface. I was Emily Harper once, a wide-eyed bride, now a woman reborn, my memories a jagged scar across my heart. Ethan Harrington. My groom looked every inch the polished heir to the Harrington Empire, his tailored tuxedo hugging broad shoulders, his smile a practiced mask of charm. But I knew the truth. His half-sister Sophia lingered in the shadows of the venue, her eyes like daggers, her presence a silent veto on our union. In my previous life, as the organ swelled and vows hung in the air, she'd called him in hysterics, threatening to leap from the penthouse balcony of their family brownstone on Fifth Avenue. And he had bolted, leaving me to stammer apologies to a sea of judgmental faces, my heart fracturing like fine china under a careless heel. Pregnancy had followed that humiliation, a fragile hope amid the wreckage. I'd carried our child through months of isolation, only for Sophia's venom to strike again. She'd lured him away during labor, stranding me in the remote Catskills phone, dead in signalless wilds. The pain had been biblical contractions ripping through me as snow howled outside the abandoned cabin, our baby slipping away in a pool of blood and regret. I died cursing them both, my last breath a vow of retribution. Now, as the officiant intoned, "Do you, Ethan, take Emily to be your lawfully wedded wife?" His phone buzzed like a hornet in his pocket. I saw the flicker in his eyes, guilt laced with inevitability. The guest shifted, sensing the ripple. In my old life, I'd clutched his sleeve, tears streaming, begging him not to go. "Please, Ethan, not today, not like this." But rebirth had forged me anew. As he hesitated, I deliberately reached out my fingers, brushing his lapel. I adjusted his tie, the silk cool against my skin, and whispered, "Be careful on your way, Ethan. The city's unforgiving tonight." My voice was soft-laced with a honeyed edge that masked the steel beneath. His hand gripped mine, knuckles white apology etching lines into his handsome face. "Emily, I'm so sorry. It's Sophia. She's not well." Sophia. The name slithered through my mind like smoke. 25 with raven hair cascading like a widow's veil, she was the Harrington family's dark secret. Half-siblings by blood, raised in the opulent cage of their father's Wall Street legacy, she'd woven herself into Ethan's life like ivy choking an oak. Emotionally parasitic, financially entitled, she'd sabotaged his every romance, culminating in this farce of a marriage. Their father, Reginald Harrington, had orchestrated a calculated merger to cloak Sophia's obsessions, preserving the family name amid whispers of impropriety. I knew she wasn't suicidal, not truly. It was theater, a blade held to her own throat for his undivided gaze. But ever the enabler, Ethan would rush to her side, leaving me to play the gracious host. The ballroom doors swallowed him whole as he slipped away and a hush fell. Eyes turned to me, pitying, probing, predatory. In my past life, I'd crumbled, fleeing to the powder room in sobs. This time, I straightened, summoning a smile that could charm vipers. "Ladies and gentlemen," I announced, my voice steady as the Hudson's flow, "it seems my husband has a family emergency. But love waits for no clock. Shall we proceed to the reception? The champagne is vintage and the band's just warming up." Laughter rippled, tentative at first, then genuine. I changed into my reception gown, a sleek emerald number that hugged my curves like a promise of power, and glided among the guests. Toasts were raised, deals whispered in corners, and I wove through it all, collecting names, alliances, and intel. By midnight, as Ethan returned disheveled and reeking of her perfumed jasmine and desperation, Sophia was stabilized, her pills swallowed under his watchful eye. He found me on the terrace, city lights sprawling like a conquered kingdom below. "Emily, she'll be okay now." His voice cracked, seeking absolution. I turned the wind, teasing my hair, and cupped his cheek. "It's all right, Ethan. We're married now. Sophia's family, my family too." The words hung laced with irony he couldn't grasp. His body tensed, a shadow crossing his features, as if my composure unnerved him more than tears ever could. That night in the penthouse suite overlooking Central Park, I lay alone in the king-size bed sheets, crisp as fresh betrayal. He didn't return. Down the hall in her guest room, he comforted her through the witching hours. I stared at the ceiling, tracing constellations in the plaster, my mind a whirlwind of plans. The Harringtons had given me shares, a dowry of stocks and real estate tools they'd intended as bait. Now they'd be my weapons. Dawn crept in, gray and unforgiving. The household staff, discreet shadows in starched uniforms, prepared breakfast in the sun-drenched kitchen. I descended poised, only to find Ethan spooning oatmeal to Sophia, who lounged in silk pajamas, her feet bare on the marble floor. "You're the best big brother," she cooed, batting lashes like a starlet from a forgotten noir film. He glanced up, guilt flashing. "Emily, join us." He poured me coffee, black as my resolve. I sat selecting a croissant, but Sophia snatched it with a pout. "That's mine. Brother made it special." Her knife scraped the plate, a screech like nails on my past wounds, her endless torments, the miscarriages she'd engineered with poisoned teas and accidental shoves. Rage simmered, but I rose fluidly, plate in hand. With a flick, I upended it onto the floor, shards scattering like broken vows. "Enjoy your morning," I said coolly, striding out. Sophia's wail followed. "She's so mean," but I was already gone, appetite slain. Ethan caught my arm at the door. "Emily, wait, where are you?" "To work," I replied, slinging my bag over my shoulder. Since I'm just the pretty facade, I might polish it into something useful. His stunned silence was my first victory. The elevator doors closed on his bewildered face, and I truly smiled for the first time. The game had begun, and this time I held the board. But as the cab hurtled toward Midtown, doubt flickered, a ghost of the girl who'd loved him fiercely and foolishly once. What if he changed? What if this was just a phase? I crushed it, remembering the cabin's chill, the baby's silent cry. No, mercy was for the weak, and I was done being weak. Little did I know, Sophia watched from the window, her eyes narrowing like a predator scenting blood. She wasn't just reactive, she was plotting her mind, a labyrinth of schemes to reclaim her throne. And Ethan? His apology masked a deeper calculation. He'd always known how to play the long game. The city blurred past a promise of chaos to come. The Harrington Tower loomed like a steel sentinel on Park Avenue, its glass facade reflecting the relentless pulse of New York. I stepped into the lobby, heels clicking with purpose, the scent of polished marble and ambition thick in the air. Reginald Harrington's office awaited on the 52nd floor, a sanctum of walnut panels and panoramic views of the skyline, jagged teeth biting the horizon. In my previous life, I'd been a ghost here, haunting the edges of Ethan's world. Now I was the specter that came to life. As I approached Reginald's secretary, a hawkish woman named Margot arched a brow. "Mrs. Harrington, you're on honeymoon leave," Mr. Harrington Sr. suggested. "Paradise can wait," I interjected, flashing a smile sharp as a stiletto. "Tell him Emily's here to discuss family assets." She buzzed me in, and there he was, Reginald's silver-haired titan, hunched over contracts like a general plotting siege. His eyes, steel gray, lifted in surprise. "Emily, the jet to the Hamptons is fueled. Why rush back?" I settled into the leather chair opposite, crossing my legs deliberately. "Dad," the word tasted like ash, but I wielded it like a blade. "I've been thinking about the empire you've built. Ethan's brilliant, but stretched thin. Sophia, well, family comes first. Let me lighten the load." His laugh was a rumble, genuine surprise softening his crags. "Ambitious. I like it. My own spawn couldn't be bothered." He slid a folder across project overviews, the Harrington Group's veins of real estate and finance. In my old life, he'd wielded threats like a cudgel, vows to ruin my parents' modest Brooklyn brownstone if I dared divorce. I saw the cracks, a man desperate for loyalty in a nest of vipers. By noon, I had a sleek, cornered office with a view that screamed power. My first task, the Lewis deal. Mr. Alexander Lawson, venture capitalist extraordinaire, held the keys to a $50 million infusion for our East Coast expansions. Ethan had fumbled it before, distracted by Sophia's whims. As I pored over spreadsheets, my assistant Javier, a sharp-eyed Cuban with a knack for dirt-brought espresso, heard Ethan booked tickets to Disneyland in Anaheim. "For two. You're a saint, Mrs. H." I sipped, masking the twist in my gut. Not for me, of course. Sophia's playground. Saints get canonized, young Javier. Pour me another. That evening, back in the Upper East Side townhouse, a gilded cage of crystal and deceit, Sophia lounged in the foyer, barefoot and triumphant, a Tiffany box dangling from her wrist. "Brother got me this in Tokyo. Wait, no, we detoured." Matching earrings. "Honeymoon vibes, right, sis?" Ethan hovered sheepish. "Emily, what should I bring you back?" "Something from Rodeo Drive." His eyes pleaded, and for a heartbeat my resolve wavered. The man I'd fallen for in college, charming, ambitious, with a laugh that lit boardrooms, peeked through. What if this trip severed the cord? What if he came back changed and was ready to choose us? The memory of his touch, tender in stolen moments, tugged like an undertow. But then I recalled the cabin, his voice on the phone, soothing her as I bled out. "Nothing, Ethan. Don't overdo it." I helped pack his suitcase, fingers lingering on a cufflink I'd gifted him years ago. Casual as air, I asked, "How's the Lawson pitch shaping up? He's a shark, needs finesse." He paused, suitcase zipper half drawn. "Why the interest you never asked before?" "I've noticed the late nights. Let me review the docs." He handed them over, oblivious to my glee. This was my inroad. Sophia slinked in, then silk robe slipping off one shoulder. Brother movie night, the basement theater's calling stars on the ceiling, just us. Without a glance my way, he followed the door, clicking shut like a coffin lid. Their private sanctum, velvet seats, a dome painted with galaxies where she'd demand his arm as armor against nightmares. Hours bled into dawn. He emerged hollow-eyed, reeking of popcorn and her. I didn't sleep. Instead, I devoured the Lawson files, my laptop glowing like a beacon in the dark. By morning, revisions flowed, cost cuts, risk hedges, a sweetener, equity shares post-IPO. Ethan left for LAX at noon. Sophia on his arm, her laughter a siren's call. At the office, Reginald clapped my shoulder. "You're a natural, Emily. Better than my blood." His praise warmed, but I saw the calculation. He needed me as a buffer, his substitute daughter, to shore up the facade. Weeks blurred in a frenzy of calls and closings. I charmed suppliers in Brooklyn warehouses and negotiated leases in Tribeca lofts. Ethan's absence was my canvas. I painted alliances, each stroke independence. Sophia's texts trickled in selfies from Tokyo Tower captions dripping venom. "Wish you were here, bro." "Oops," meant sis. I deleted without reply, but each ping chipped at my armor. Was I becoming them cold, untethered? One night alone in my office, the city a neon sea below exhaustion cracked me open. I scrolled through old photos, Ethan and me at Yale Arms entwined under autumn leaves. Tears blurred the screen. What if I forgive him, I whispered to the void. What if love's worth the scars? The door creaked. Javier with takeout. Rough day, boss. Lawson's ghosting again. I wiped my face steel, snapping back, not ghosting, and prepared the trap. But as I plotted, a shadow stirred Sophia's last unread text. "Enjoy the throne while it lasts. Queen's fall." She wasn't idle, far from it. Her next move would be surgical, a whisper to Reginald, perhaps twisting my ambition into disloyalty. And Ethan. His emails grew sparse, laced with unease. The trip was extended. Sophia's relapse demanded more time. Curiosity gnawed. What fresh hell awaited on their return? I leaned back the skyline, mocking my solitude. The boardroom was mine, but the war just igniting. Autumn descended on New York like a velvet shroud, leaves carpeting Central Park in crimson and gold, mirroring the slow bleed of my patience. Ethan's return from Japan was a spectacle. Sophia, sun-kissed and sparkling with a diamond choker that screamed excess, paraded through the townhouse like a conquering debutante. 3 days at Disneyland, every thrill, every treat. Brother even got us these rings, twinsies. She thrust her hand out the band, glinting mockingly. Ethan lingered behind, jet-lagged, his gaze darting to me with a hunger I hadn't seen in years. Emily, the deal. Did it hold? I folded laundry with mechanical precision, my smile a veneer. Lawson's intrigued. I tweaked the terms to have lower margins and faster rollout. Reginald's thrilled. I'd cold-called Lawson, pitching solo, my voice steady despite the tremor in my chest. His assistant had laughed Harrington's little wife playing big leagues, but I'd hooked him with data, not charm. Sophia's pout twisted into a smirk. "Ah, poor sis. Stuck here while we jetted. Feel bad this was your honeymoon." The word landed like a slap, evoking phantom contractions, the cabin's icy grip. Yet Ethan's hand brushed mine as he passed, warm, familiar, and doubt slithered in. "It's fine, Sophia," I murmured, throat tight, "as long as you're happy." For a reckless second, I imagined pulling him aside, confessing my fears, begging for the man I'd lost. His eyes softened. Perhaps he remembered the stolen weekends in the Hamptons, whispers of forever. But Sophia's laugh shattered it, shrill as shattering glass. "See, she gets it. Family first." Reginald's health faltered then, a persistent cough rattling his frame during board meetings. I became his shadow, scheduling pulmonologists on Madison Avenue, brewing herbal teas in the executive kitchen, enduring his gruff gratitude. "You're the daughter I deserved," he rasped one afternoon, IV dripping in a private suite at Mount Sinai. His real daughter. A vortex of need sucking light from all orbits. Outwardly, I nodded dutiful. Inwardly, I catalogued his hypocrisies, the threats of yore, the forced vows. Rest easy, Dad, the company's humming. I'd expanded our portfolio, a boutique hotel chain in the Berkshire's green tech startups in Brooklyn. Profits soared. Whispers of Emily's touch echoed in elevators. Home was a tighter coil. Sophia's antics escalated, proactive, now laced with malice. She'd accidentally spill wine on my dresses, then coo apologies while eyeing Ethan for rescue. As rain lashed the windows one evening, she cornered me in the library. "You think you're clever playing house with Daddy's toys, brother's mine. Always was." Her breath was hot, manicured nails digging into my arm. Fear spiked, not for me, but the child I'd never hold. "Let go, Sophia, or I'll make you." She released, laughing low. "Try it. I'll tell everyone you're the crazy one, stealing my brother, poisoning Dad's mind." Her eyes gleamed. I realized she'd hacked my emails, planting seeds of doubt with Reginald anonymous tips about my overreach. Sensing the rift, Ethan pulled me into the study that night, the door locked against her eaves. Emily, you're pulling away. I know Sophia's much, but we're in this. His kiss was urgent, tasting of regret and redemption. My body betrayed me, melting into him, the old fire igniting. For a moment, I forgave the boy who'd promised stars, not this shadowed man. Then the memory crashed, her voice on speaker. Come now, or I'll end it as I labored alone. I shoved him back, breath ragged. Are we, or am I just the shield when the storm hits? He recoiled, wounded. That's not a knock. Sophia tear-streaked. Brother nightmare again. He hesitated, glory of glories, before going, but the seed was planted. His steps dragged. At work, Lawson loomed. I'd secured a lunch at Le Bernardin Midtown's seafood cathedral. He arrived late, imposing in bespoke wool, his aura a gravitational pull. Mrs. Harrington, bold pitching without your husband's leash. Call me Emily, and it's my pitch our teams. See these projections, I slid tablets across linen, heart pounding. He scanned, brow arching. Ambitious, risky. Harrington stable, but you're a wild card. His smile was wolfish eyes, appraising not just numbers, but me, the woman rising from ashes. We talked for hours about market fluxes, crypto hedges, and the thrill of upends. As dessert arrived, chocolate spheres cracking like secrets, he leaned in. 3 months. Prove it. Succeed, and it's a 5-year lock, not 3. Elation surged. Deal. But as I left, his card burned in my pocket, private line scrawled, note, dinner off books. Home that night, laughter echoed from the basement, Sophia's domain, now a den of bolder intimacies. I paused at the door, ear-pressed murmurs, a gasp too intimate for siblings. Revulsion warred with pity. She'd twisted him, but he'd let her. Sleep evaded. Dawn brought a call, Reginald wheezing. Emily, the cough's worse. Come. At the hospital, monitors were beeping like accusations, and he gripped my hand, ere Emily. We need one. Smooth the edges. His eyes pleaded, the patriarch, unmasked, terrified of Legacy's void. I squeezed back, feigning warmth. Soon, Dad. But inside, terror bloomed. A child with Sophia's shadow, it'd be the cabin redux. Dinner that week was a powder keg. Reginald broached it bluntly. Grandkids' time to populate the dynasty. Sophia erupted, fork clattering. No brother loves only me. Plates flew. She lunged at me, nails raking air. Ethan restrained her, but not before she spat. Swear it, Ethan. No brats, or I'll drag you down. He swore, voice breaking, as Reginald slapped her first blood in the war. Chaos reigned, shrieks slammed doors. I drove them home in silence, Reginald fuming in the passenger seat. Later, wandering Soho's neon-lit streets for solace, gelato melting on my tongue, I returned to find them entwined on the couch, Sophia asleep in his lap, his hand stroking her hair with a tenderness that curdled my blood. I draped a blanket over them, retreating to my room, heart a-storm. Morning, Ethan wrecked, accepted my honeyed coffee. Thanks for understanding. Consistently, I lied, already dialing Lawson. But as I hung up, meeting confirmed a text from Sophia, your little game over soon. Watch your back. Her proactivity chilled me. What poison had she brewed? The abyss whispered, and I teetered on its edge. Curiosity a hook in my gut, the next strike imminent. Winter's bite sharpened New York's edges, frost etching the townhouse windows like accusations frozen in time. Reginald's bronchitis confined him to a Park Avenue clinic, his empire teetering on my shoulders. I shuttled between boardrooms and bedside vigils, and my days were a blur of IV stands and income statements. You're irreplaceable, the doctor quipped, once mistaking me for kin. Reginald didn't correct him. In his fevered haze, I was the anchor his blood couldn't provide. Ethan's guilt manifested in gestures, client intros at power lunches in the financial district, a spa voucher for stress relief. But Sophia's shadow loomed larger, her manipulations evolving from tantrums to tactics. She'd intercept my calls, posing as me to suppliers. Emily's changed her mind, sowing chaos in deals I'd nurtured. One morning, a Brooklyn developer stormed in. Your assistant nixed the lease, we're out. I traced it to her IP fury coiling. Confronting her in the solarium amid orchids wilting like our farce, she smirked. Oops, clumsy me. But really, sis, why Horde Brother says you're distant? Maybe it's time you stepped aside. Her words stung, echoing my doubts. After her episode, Ethan had cornered me the night before, a fake feint that glued him to her side till 3 a.m. Emily, talk to me. You're vanishing. His plea raw cracked my facade. In the dim kitchen, under the hum of the Sub-Zero, I'd almost confessed the rebirth, the rage, the love that lingered like a bruise. His arms around me felt like home, a safe harbor in the gale. I miss us, he'd murmured, lips grazing my temple. Temptation surged. Forgiveness danced on my tongue. What if we rebuilt a family untainted? but her giggle from upstairs shattered it, mocking omnipresent. I pulled away. Us or you and your shadow. Now facing her venom, I held steady. Step aside, darling, I'm just getting started. Yet as she flounced out, a tremor shook me. She was dangerous now, wiser with allies. Whispers reached me she'd charmed Reginald's old cronies, painting me as the gold digger usurper. Lawson became my lifeline. Our trial month flew my team Javier's scouts, a cadre of ex-Harrington whiz kids, delivered prototypes ahead eco-luxury condos in Queens that slashed costs 20%. He summoned me to his Soho loft, a minimalist fortress of glass and steel overlooking the Hudson. "You've got brass," he said, pouring scotch neat. Tall with salt and pepper hair and eyes like polished obsidian, he exuded control, a man who'd toppled tycoons for breakfast. Harrington's fumbling, but you're carving your niche. We sparred over blueprints, his leg brushing mine under the table, a spark deliberate, 3 months up. Contract's yours. 5 years equity bump. Elation crested, but he leaned closer. Dinner tomorrow, not business. My pulse raced, not just victory, but the man. He saw me not wife, not victim, but force. Perhaps I teased, but inside caution warred with want. Ethan had been my first fire. Lawson promised an inferno. Home thrust me back to ice. Ethan, drained from Sophia's migraines, collapsed on the couch. She needs therapy. Real help. His admission vulnerable tugged anew. I knelt, tracing his jaw. Then get it for her. For us. He pulled me close, kiss deepening with desperate hunger. For stolen minutes I lost myself, his hands mapping old paths, whispers of, I choose you. Forgiveness bloomed treacherous petal. Maybe this was redemption. A crash upstairs, Sophia accidentally toppled a vase and shards were raining. Brother help, he tensed, duty calling. I released him the moment Ash. Go. Alone, tears came hot, unbidden, weakness raw. How long could I fight the pull? Sophia's next volley struck at dawn, a doctored email to Reginald from me, green-lighting a risky merger that tanked shares overnight. Chaos erupted, board calls, Reginald's roar over the speaker. Emily, what the hell? I traced it, confronting her in the foyer. Your hack job sloppy, Soph. She paled, then rallied, voice silk over steel. Prove it, or watch your pretty world burn. Her eyes held madness, but cunning too. She'd backed it up with forged logs framing Javier. Reginald summoned us, his hospital bed a throne of judgment. Explain. Sophia played innocent tears Oscar-worthy. I countered with forensics timestamps, IP trails, clearing my name, implicating her subtly. He sighed, weary. Sophia, enough. Emily's proven her worth. But his glance lingered on her paternal fracture evident. She stormed out, vowing revenge. That night, Ethan found me on the terrace, city lights blurring through the rain. She's unraveling. I almost lost her today. Threatened the bridge again. The George Washington windswept heights, her perennial stage. Doubt nod. Was I pushing too hard? Ethan choose. Her or... Sophia burst in, then drenched hysterical. He won't leave me alone with you. You're poison. She clutched him, and he held her, murmuring soothing words. I slipped away, heart leaden. In my room, Lawson's text glowed, dinner at 8. Wear red. Temptation's tide rose. But as I dressed, a call, Javier frantic. Sophia's tipping off Press Harrington dirt. We need a counter. The war escalated, suspense coiling like fog off the East River. Her next move, a blade in the dark, and mine to strike first or risk drowning in old love's undertow. The holiday season cloaked New York in tinsel and deceit, Fifth Avenue's lights twinkling like false stars against the encroaching night. Reginald's discharge brought fragile normalcy, family dinners in the townhouse dining room, crystal clinking amid strained silences. But Sophia's fury festered, her proactivity a venomous bloom. She'd escalated, tampering with my car brakes during a joyride to the office, a near miss on the FDR drive that left skid marks on my soul. Police reports were hushed. Reginald's influence buried it. She's troubled, he confided over brandy, his cough a rattle. But you're the glue, Emily. Don't let her pull you under. I nodded, but vigilance sharpened. Ethan Torn showered me with absences masked as concerned therapy sessions for her that stretched into overnights at her atelier in Chelsea, where she'd paint away demons. Whispers from neighbors filtered in, a doorkeeper joking. If it were not for you, those two'd be shacked up properly. Each barb chipped, my weak moments multiplied. One blizzard-lashed evening, Ethan returned early, snow-dusted, bearing hot cocoa and contrition. I canceled her session for us. We tangled in the library fire, crackling his touch, erasing months of chill. I love you, Em. Always have. The words sincere cracked my armor. I clung, whispering back visions of a future unscarred, children's laughter echoing, not cries in the snow. But dawn brought reality. Sophia's note on the fridge scrawled in red. Enjoy the scraps. He's mine. Rage supplanted tenderness. I burned it, resolve hardening. Lawson dinners became ritual, intimate affairs at Hidden Gems, a speakeasy in the Village Oysters at a rooftop in Tribeca. He was relentless, charming with an edge, stories of hostile takeovers, his hand lingering on mine. You're wasting on them, Emily. Join my world equals not echoes. His proposition tempted a siren's call to power unyoked. Equals, I echoed, sipping wine, but hesitated. Ethan lingered in my veins, a poison I couldn't purge. Sophia's counterstrike landed mid-December, an anonymous leaked memo to the Times alleging Harrington nepotism, me as the puppet wife siphoning funds. Shares dipped. Reginald raged, eyes on me. Handle it. I did better, oppressor at the Harvard Club unveiling our green initiatives, positioning me as visionary. Lawson amplified his firm endorsing publicly. The tide turned, but Sophia's glare at Christmas brunch seethed. Clever witch, but holidays end. New Year's loomed, my vouchers for a coastal retreat in Big Sur burning a hole. I dangled them casually, ocean views, hot springs. Perfect escape. Sophia snatched them, disdain curling her lip. Finally, know your lane. Ethan wavered. A week work piles up, but her pout tears welling broke him. Fine, but Emily, she dragged him out, tires screeching into the night. Freedom tasted sweet. I dove into Lawson's trial finale. My team crushed it, condos breaking ground, ROI projections soaring. Signing day, his office in the Flatiron, champagne popping. You're a force, he murmured, thumb tracing my wrist. Leave them. Start fresh with me. The kiss that followed was electric, his lips demanding, promising empires. I yielded briefly, fire meeting fire. But pulling back, Ethan's face flashed vulnerable, pleading. Not yet, I breathed. I need to end it clean. He nodded, eyes dark. Then end it. But remember, opportunities don't wait. With them gone, the townhouse echoed hollow. I visited Reginald Soup steaming. Where's Ethan? He barked. Business retreat? I lied smoothly. His frown deepened, suspicion flickered. I pitched the annual Gala Big Sur Hot Springs luxury unwind post-dinner to distract. Partners love it. Brilliant, you're in charge. Trust sealed, I orchestrated guest lists, bloated with influencers, spa slots timed precisely. Sophia's feeds, stalked, discreetly confirmed, they'd linger indulging in sibling bonding. Gala night, Big Sur's cliffs plunged to Pacific fury mists, veiling redwoods like secrets. I arrived early, emerald gown flowing, greeting arrivals, Lawson among them, his gaze appreciative, striking, as always. The banquet hall glowed, crystal and candlelight. Toasts rang, deals sealed over caviar. Then the accidental breach, hotel staff on my cue ushered a group, key partners Lawson included, to the mixed baths. Prime slots complimentary. Steam rose like ghosts as doors swung open. There, Sophia, towel-clad astride Ethan's lap in the bubbling pool, their laughter, intimate bodies entwined beyond fraternal. Gasps rippled, flashes from discreet phones. Reginald mid-toast, crumpled, clutching chest face ashen. Chaos erupted, medics swarmed, partners murmuring. Sophia lunged, feral, you bitch, trap. Ethan hauled her back, horror dawning. I knelt by Reginald, feigning shock. Dad, breathe. But inside, triumph sang. As ambulances wailed, Sophia's scream pierced. I'll destroy you. Lawson pulled me aside, voice low. Masterstroke, ruthless. His hand on my back, burned ally or opportunist. Ethan's glare later in the lobby. You orchestrated this. I replied that truth has a way of surfacing calm as the crashing waves outside. Doubt flickered, his pain raw, echoing my old love. Almost I reached for him. Ethan, we could have what? Did they use me like they did? Venom twisted his features. The boy was gone, replaced by the man she'd forged. Sophia, restrained by security, spat curses. Her next plot already brewing, I sensed deadlier personal. The facade, fractured shards glinting in the California moon. Suspense hung thick as fog. What vengeance would she unleash? The scandal detonated like a fault line, cracking the Harrington facade, seismic waves rippling from Big Sur to boardrooms across the Atlantic. Tabloids feasted Harrington heirs' incestuous idol empire in tatters. Paparazzi swarmed the townhouse lenses, leering like voyeurs at a wake. Stabilized in a Monterey ICU, Reginald awoke to monitors and mortification, his empire's stock plummeting 15% overnight. I played the widow-in-waiting, daily vigils, coordinating PR spins, family health crisis, privacy paramount. Lawson orchestrated counters, his network quashing the ugliest leaks, but not before damage was etched deep. You're clean in this, he murmured over crisis calls, his jet ferrying me back east. Leverage it. Homecoming was hellfire. Sophia, confined to her Chelsea loft under rehab guise, funneled rage through proxies, anonymous posts, doxing my past dredging college flings to paint me Jezebel. Shuttling between her and the hospital, Ethan cornered me in the townhouse, study bourbon on his breath. You wanted this, our ruin. For what payback? His anguish clawed, the man I'd loved surfaced broken. Ethan, it was never revenge, it was survival. My voice cracked, weakness surging. In the firelight, I saw us young picnics in Prospect Park, dreams unscarred. We could fix, he laughed bitter. You exposed us like animals. Sophia's suicidal again, real this time. Guilt twisted her threats were my echo from the past. Almost I yielded, let me help her for you. But his sneer froze me. Help, you're the monster now. He stormed out, leaving silence to swallow me whole. Sophia's proactivity piqued a midnight call to my parents' Brooklyn line voice, modulated Emily's embezzling. Run! Mom, frantic, dialed, honey, what's happening? I soothed, but fear rooted. She was unraveling the threads I'd woven. Reginald, discharged to home care, summoned me alone. Wiser now, his eyes pierced. You knew. And you struck. No anger, just weary calculation. Why not divorce quietly? Because quiet buries truths, I replied, meeting his gaze. And I deserved more than a gag. He nodded, a ghost of respect. The company's yours to salvage if you want it, temptation power absolute. But no, I'd built my exit. Lawson's offer crystallized over dinner at his Upper West Side penthouse skyline, sprawling submissive below. Walk away. My firm needs you, VP corner office. And us. His kiss sealed it, passionate equal. I responded, fired, meeting ambition, but pulled back. Partners first, lovers second. He grinned, predatory. Deal. But don't dally, the Harringtons will drag you down. Spring thawed the city, but my resolve iced over. I packed stealthily files to Javier's cloud, and clients poached them with velvet gloves. Sophia's final gambit, a forged restraining order claiming I threatened her. Cops at my door, 3 a.m., heart hammering, I countered with gala footage, her lunge immortalized. Dismissed, but shaken. Ethan arrived, then rain-soaked, pleading. She's lost it, Em. Help me hold the pieces. His vulnerability undid me. Tears fell as I held him. I whispered one last time, the old love, a siren's thrall. But dawn revealed her hack, my bank alerts, frozen assets siphoned to offshore shadows. Fury eclipsed pity. No more, I said, shoving divorce papers unsigned but final. Reginald's will amendment leaked me as executor should he falter. Sophia's howl echoed citywide. Ethan sold scraps to survive the empire crumbling to dust. I moved to a Tribeca loft, parents beaming at the view. Proud kiddo. Lawson's visits warmed, but I charted solo. My firm, Harper Ventures, was birthed in a co-working space and clients flocked. Yet echoes lingered, Ethan's last text, forgive me. Sophia's silence is ominous. The exposed wounds healed slowly with suspense in every shadow. What ghost would rise next? Summer scorched New York humidity, clinging like regrets, but my ascent was a cool blaze. Harper Ventures bloomed in a flatiron loft, glass walls, beanbag brainstorms, a team of 30 firebrands poached from giants. Lawson funneled intros, Silicon Alley VCs, Hollywood producers, eyeing real estate tie-ins. Dinners evolved to mergers. His touch, once electric, settled into alliance, mutual gain, no chains. You're a phenomenon, he said at a gala in the Met's Temple of Dender, Nile reflections dancing on his tux from Harrington Pawn to Queen. His hand on my waist sparked, but I sidestepped. Queens don't need crowns, Alex, just the board. Ethan's pleas faded to radio silence, and his empire auctioned in fire sales brownstone, to developers and shares to vultures. Whispers reached Sophia, was institutionalized in a Connecticut clinic, breakdowns medicated. Reginald retreated to the Hamptons' ailing shadow, issuing edicts from afar. My weak moments, ambushed in quiet, a rainy night wine glass in hand, scrolling through his old emails. Miss your fire, Em. Tears welled. The love that birthed me now haunted. What if I'd saved him, pulled him from her web? A call shattered the reverie, Reginald Frail. Emily, come. Loose ends. The Hamptons' drive was purgatory, waves crashing like accusations. His beachfront mansion, once a playground, loomed desolate. He waited on the veranda, oxygen mask, dangling eyes milky. You won. Take the company full control. Surprise stilled me. Why now? Because blood failed me, you didn't. His confession spilled Sophia's origins, a affair's fruit, his guilt forging the monster. I thought marriage would contain it. Forgive an old fool. Pity stirred unbidden. Forgiveness isn't mine to hoard. But as I signed proxies, Sophia's shadow loomed, escaped rehab, en route her therapy, a farce of fury. She burst in mid-signing, wild-eyed scalpel from the kitchen glinting. Thief, it's ours. Ethan trailed, restraining too late. She lunged. I dodged vase-shattering chaos, his tackle, her shrieks, Reginald's wheeze. Cops swarmed. She was cuffed, raving. Ethan, with a bloodied lip, met my eyes. End this madness, Em, with me. The plea gutted. Love's ghost rose. Too late, I whispered, but my hand lingered on his, almost mercy's edge. Lawson arrived post-melee, helicopter whirring. Cleanup's mine. He handled press bundling Sophia to a private facility, his strings pulled discreetly. She's contained for now. Reginald passed that week quietly sea view, eternal funeral media circus, me eulogizing strength and loss. Ethan approached after hollow, proud of you, even now. A chaste hug, farewell. Weakness passed, strength endured. Harper soared, IPO whispers, Forbes nods. Lawson's pursuit intensified, yacht invites. Paris whispers, be mine fully. Over escargot at Le Cirque, I countered equals or nothing. He paused, then smiled genuinely. Challenge accepted. But storms brewed, Sophia's lawyers sued alleging fraud. Twists piled, Ethan's testimony reluctant, cracking her case. Suspense tautened who'd betray last. Autumn leaves fell, my empire rooted. The ascent hard won but mine. Ghosts quieted, but one echo persisted, freedom's price. Fall painted the Sierra Nevada in fire and gold peaks I'd once likened to my past's mazes, now symbols of summit. Harper Ventures crested a $100 million valuation, with offices sprawling to LA sunlit lofts where dreams traded hands like currency. Lawson and I danced the line, boardroom allies, candlelit trysts in Malibu hideaways. You're my equal, he confessed, one dawn sheets tangled, Pacific roaring approval, and more. I smiled, tracing his scars, takeover battles etched in skin. More's the danger. Love tempted, but I held reins, no rings, no reliance. My epiphany, reborn in blood, demanded autonomy, value, self-forged, not borrowed. Ethan's life unraveled in tabloid shreds, bankruptcy filings. Sophia's institutional saga, a lifetime cautionary. A chance encounter at a charity auction in Sotheby's, him gaunt in off-rack wool, stirred embers. Emily. Thriving, I see. We talked over champagne flutes, old rhythms resurfacing. I was blind, he admitted, voice rough. Her web. I enabled it. Regret carved him. The boy peeked through. My heart clenched, forgiveness's siren song. We could try again, he pressed, hand hovering. Memories collided, Yale laughs, cabin screams. No, Ethan, some horizons close. I walked away, spine steel, but tears waited in the cab weakness final purge. Sophia's endgame fizzled, her suit dismissed appeals, quashed by Lawson's sharks. A letter arrived, scrawled from her ward, you won. But shadows linger. Danger neutralized, but wisdom dawned, she'd been the mirror to my rage. Reginald's legacy donated to causes I'd championed, women's shelters, rebirth funds. His note, choose freely, daughter. Winter solstice found me atop Donner Peak, snow-dusted evergreens, whispering secrets. Lawson proposed not rings, but partnership, merged firms, shared thrones. Equals, he vowed. I accepted on my terms. Below valleys misted, but clear, the universe's sign etched in rebirth. Freedom wasn't solitude, but choice love as ally, not anchor. Life unfolded ventures, conquering coasts, loves balanced on blades. No more shields, I was the sword. And in quiet nights, gazing at stars uncharted, I whispered to the child lost, we made it. If this tale of rising from ruins gripped you, hit that like button to fuel more stories of unbreakable spirits, comment on your favorite twist, and subscribe for weekly dives into destinies reclaimed. Your next escape awaits.